Anthony, in this edition of What If, we're going to look at a absolutely lovely guy, Bray Wyatt, obviously gone way too soon.
Yes.
As we know, passed away, the 36 when he passed away, which is just no life at all, really, is it? You know what I mean? It's terrible, but he'd obviously just made his return. He was doing some incredible stuff with the White Rabbit and the clues everywhere and stuff, and then he's you know.
Okay, it's obviously going to have a somber tone to it, as you say. It's an absolute devastating loss for, obviously, personally for his family, but for the wrestling business. And you know, there's no sort of, I suppose, glossing over that, but you know, to try and sort of talk about, like you say, I suppose his love for storytelling just seems like a nice thing to do,
exactly,
and hopefully respectful thing to do. But like you mentioned about the White Rabbit stuff, and I don't know if you want to start there or go earlier career, but like you were fully down for the White Rabbit storytelling, weren't you? You were so amazing. Like you were like trying to crack the code and everything.
It reminded me of like when Lost was on, and we used to go to like Lostpedia, and we'd be looking like, what does it mean? What are the numbers? You know, what are the clues?
Yeah.
So I got them vibes from it, and it was just something every week I was looking forward to. The little like QR codes, a little like whenever the screen would go a bit weird, it made you want to not miss a second of TV.
Yeah, because like when something's gonna pop up or whatever, because obviously you had little hints in the background of even just like a promo in the background, you'd be looking around like what's going on.
It was just and like it was like they were so well done as well. Like it wasn't just like, oh, it was a QR code and you scan it and you get to like a picture on it. It was like you get to some fucking thing and you've got to then crack some code. You know what I mean? It was like really in depth.
Yeah.
So I knew straight away. I didn't know straight away it was Bray, but I knew straight away, okay, this is going to be
it's gonna be
something.
Big. Yeah,
something big. And obviously, you know, Extreme Rules, we got the answer to that, didn't we? And it's fascinating, really, in a sense, because obviously we now do have a version of the Wyatt Sicks, but at Extreme Rules, obviously, kept cutting to the crowd, didn't it? And we got to see Mercy the Buzzard, and we got to see like what's he called? In Husky.
Huskus.
Yeah, Huskus. We got to see all them, and then obviously Bray Wyatt in just normal with the lantern come through the door, and you were like, what does this mean now?
Yeah.
And I've been watching back quite a lot of it. I remember at the time, you know, being completely honest, we were so interested in it, and then it kind of seemed like it tailed off ever so slightly with the LA Knight inclusion, because it was like he went up and just like slapped him and ran away and stuff, and we were like, oh, what's this? And then it was like, it felt like we finally got his first match back, and it was a Mountain Dew pitch black match, and it was like, why have they done this?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it feels like that was going to get out the way, and then we were kind of fully
and I feel like
pick it up again.
Because to be fair, the Mountain Dew one, I know going into it, we were like, why? Like, cause it felt like a branded like thing, but then like you could see his creativity steep through that match anyway, because they included like because they were doing the pitch black match, like he done the face paint, didn't he, to like for that reveal. I think that was when we first saw Uncle Howdy rock up at the same time, so you knew it was like different characters and stuff. So like you say, they were definitely, you know, leading with that.
Yeah. But I think watching it back now, I think there's some of the stuff that just went over my head a little bit at the time. So I think it seems like Bray was trying to, you know, turn over a new leaf, and he was trying to be a different person now. He's leaving the Fiend behind him, and you know, he gave that his first promo back. Obviously, it was a very emotional one. He mentioned obviously he'd lost people in his life, like obviously John Huber, or Blue Carper, or Brody Lee, whatever you want to call him. Obviously, and it was another personal friend or family member and stuff as well. And you know, we met him. Obviously, I think I've got a picture somewhere we can. Not this. There we go. So we got a picture somewhere that we can put up. Obviously, we were lucky enough to meet him in for Love Wrestling in Liverpool, and like I remember was just thinking like, what a sound guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And
well, I remember talking about it at the time, but I was so enamored with like this guy, he loved the business, and you could tell when you met him. The interactions for the photographs were obviously fleeting because there's a lot of people to get through. You could see just how many fans just wanted to see him.
Yeah.
But you know, he stayed afterwards. After For the Love of Wrestling, he sat with the fans and he was just telling them stories and shit. Like he loved the fans and he loved the business, and you could tell.
Yeah.
And like you say, he came across such a wonderful guy.
And he was over
one day.
He was over with Bo Dallas and his dad, obviously IRS as well, wasn't he? And it was nice just seeing them three just interacting. You know what I mean? As like a family, and it was so lovely to see. But watching back that promo, do you know what I mean? Like it made me think like the time because that was when he was released, and thinking what he was going through.
Yeah.
And you'd never tell. You know what I mean? Because
exactly,
he was just like he was just all about the people that were there. So. Yeah, so slight digression, but just watching the stuff back, and like I think it went over my head a little bit, but I think ultimately the Uncle Howdy character was trying to make him reconnect with who he truly was instead of the guy he was trying to be, like turning over the new leaf.
Do you think that storyline wise, do you think that's what we would have got, is like essentially Uncle Howdy haunting him to sort of, you know, entice and bring him back to who he's meant to be, kind of thing?
Yeah, I think that's where we're going with it.
Is he going to give in, or is he going to?
Well, that's it, because like at the match at Extreme Rules, obviously after the match they carried on, didn't they? And then Uncle Howdy was on top of the thing and he jumped off and landed on LA Knight and the flames and everything, wasn't it? So it was almost like they were working together then at that point.
Yeah, true.
So it was like, I didn't know what direction they were going to go, but seemingly, we were still going to get a version of the Wyatt Sicks.
Yeah.
But I wonder how different that would have been, because obviously now Uncle Howdy is the leader of the Wyatt Sicks. Would Bray have been the leader?
I mean, I tend to think that would have been the case. And for me, I think a lot of the spirit of probably where they were going, and this is no disrespect to Bo when I say it, but I think the execution would have relied on the creativity of Bray. So it's obviously missing a spark, and I don't think there's any avoiding that. I think even Bo would probably acknowledge that,
Yeah.
But like, I think the idea of these sort of rejected misfits like they're doing is probably the spirit of what Bray was aiming for as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like the reasons that they're all together makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I could see, I think it is a shame. Like if we'd have had the Fiend as the leader of that. Yeah. That would have been a bit fucking awesome.
Well, do you know, so I don't know whether we would have ended up getting him as the leader of it. I don't know how it would have gone. In my mind, the way I would have seen it playing out is Uncle Howdy would have maybe brought them in one at a time. Like flashes from his past,
because they are representing the manifestations of his career, aren't they? And like similar to the way they were puppets in the Funhouse, but they were always relevant. Like the buzzards were always a thing. You know, Buskus the Pig Boy was obviously a reference to his early NXT careers and the criticisms he got and stuff. So it was every one of them was him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get what you're saying. That.
Is there 6 of them now? So there's
We've got
Uncle Howdy,
yeah.
Sister Abigail, so Nikki Cross,
Abby, yeah.
Dexter Loomis, Joe Gacy, Eric,
Rowan. Yeah.
Is that it? There's the 5 of them at the minute.
I think there's only 5. Yeah.
So that would make you think that Bray would have been the 6th.
Yeah.
So in my mind, the way I would have liked to see it play out, I guess, is that Uncle Howdy would have been almost torturing Bray. And to do that, he would have kind of brought in these figures from his past one at a time. Maybe he would have had to fucking fight them, or they would have had some sort of interaction. You know what I mean?
That would have been pretty cool, because he'd literally be fighting his demons and his past.
Literally, yeah. So maybe that would have been the case, and then eventually, the combination of all of them would have ended up bringing him back to the Fiend.
Yeah.
And then maybe he would have.
So what would you have said? That's like that's ultimately how he deals with them, or that he does eventually lead.
Well, that's it. I think maybe he could have ended up leading them, and like it would have been the Wyatt Sicks with all of them, with the Fiend as the leader. You know what I mean? But
I could picture a scenario where it's like, obviously he's done like individual matches, you say, but then there's like as a group they're beating him down, and then lights go out. Fiend, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
could have done something like that. Because I think there was always an appreciation for the Fiend, and I think there was always a desire to bring him back. I know Bray didn't want to just go straight into let's be the Fiend again.
Yeah,
but I think it always had to go down that road eventually to go, let's bring back the Fiend, because he got so over with the Fiend. Like all the Firefly Funhouse stuff, was amazing.
Well,
really well executed.
We know from the documentary that they put out that he planned to bring back the Fiend, so he'd had all this kind of costume gear made and everything. Like the lantern was going to be the Fiend's face. He put animatronics in it, so the eyes would move, the mouth would move, and stuff. Obviously, the gear was updated, the mask was updated, and one thing that he was planning to do. So whereas he used to do like the spider thing, like and go backwards on the ropes, he was going to instead go forwards, and he was going to show a new mask, and that was like the beauty. So I think it was like modeled after JoJo. It's like a face scan of her face, obviously the most beautiful person to him. But it was like full of all like these little intricate details. I think it had like his wedding anniversary on it. I think his kids' names were on his tights. You know what I mean?
He put a lot of thoughts,
everything into it. So we know the Fiend was going to come back at some point.
Yeah.
And potentially as the leader of the Wyatt Sicks. I'm happy that he came back because in that first promo, it was true. He said, "I finally get to speak to you as me.
Yeah,
I'm not, Bray Wyatt,
like
a cult leader. I'm not, you know what I mean." And it was like, do you know what? Yeah, this is the first time you are actually just being yourself. And like that was quite powerful. But I think ultimately, yeah, we would have ended up going down that route and getting the Fiend back. But would we have had because obviously the Firefly Funhouse was gone. But would we still have had like the Mr. Rogers version of Bray Wyatt? Because the last, correct me if I'm wrong, by the way, in the comments, the last appearance I think we saw him. So after the thing with LA Knight, he came on the screen at Raw, and he was doing the Muscle Man dance. You remember for Bobby Lashley? Right. And he was because he's basically was gonna challenge the winner of Brock and Bobby from WrestleMania. That was gonna be his next feud.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bobby got the win, didn't he? So it's gonna go after Bobby by the looks of it. That was the last time we saw him, but he was in like the workout gear, being like, "I'm doing the Muscle Man dance." You know what I mean? And it was like, like.
See, I always envisaged it myself as like it would be the Bray we knew who returns on the screen there, with the duality of the Fiend, not the, because I always class the Mr. Rogers character as like an overcomposition.
Yeah,
because he knows he's deep down dark, so he was being overly nice, and I felt like the changed up character of the Fiend was probably the alter for the true Bray, if that made sense. That's how I always looked at my head. But I do take your point that they seem to be going back more towards the Mr. Rogers.
Well, that's it. It feels character. Like which goes to show it would have kept us guessing. Because we can sit here now thinking, oh, well, they probably would have done this, so but we don't quite know where it was going to go. Hence the whole point of this, really.
I mean, if you think back to like Bray was always fantastic at like build up. If you think about how long. Like it didn't feel like it was dragging on by any means, but if you think of that build up, those different promos, we knew the Mr. Rogers version of Bray before the Fiend came onto the scene, and everyone was like lost their shit when the Fiend came onto the scene. But it was like the build up, all these different vignettes, and like what is this? This is crazy. And there was always like, because I used to love more so than the overtly like evil character of the Fiend, like that sudden twist from nice guy to menacing. Like he was always so good at that. You'd have like in the funhouse bits, and there'd just be like a moment of like intensity, and you're like, Jesus, like he was very good at playing that sort of that lunacy. Is that the right word?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think back to the original, like when he first came back as the Fiend, like that build up was fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
he was excellent at that kind of thing.
No, it definitely was, and like we saw that similarly when he came back this time. I think because every week he just had like a little segment. It was either like a video or a backstage thing or whatever. But every time it kind of didn't steal the show necessarily, but it was like, he made the most of it.
He had that real estate, and he made use of it.
Yeah, man, it was building up to something. But I think so. Let's say then if we think he would have gone that way and the Fiend would have returned, like we also know that he had that moment with the Undertaker. Yeah, and obviously whatever he whispered, I don't think Undertaker's ever said or will say. But
I mean, I think I admire that. It was between them, and it'll stay between them, and I admire that from Taker, to be honest.
Yeah.
And you can speculate, and people will probably forever speculate, but regardless of how it was said or what was said, for me there was a clear passing of the torch moment there, and the Fiend or Bray was the modern day Undertaker, wasn't he?
Well, that's
he was
it.
the Undertaker of that era.
Yeah, so that, like, I guess
Cut way too short, very sadly, but he was the Undertaker of that era.
yeah, it feels like that was what it was doing. It was like the passing of the torch. So it's like obviously Undertaker's retired now. How do you see this latest iteration of the Fiend working? Do you think he would have gone more into like the Undertaker? Because I do feel like there is a like the supernatural element is missing now from WWE.
Yeah,
There's not
100%. Like Bray, he always put a lot of creativity into it, and I'm not downplaying like the work in terms of the vignettes and the other characters as well, but like if you remember just how much he could pop the crowd just by the lights going out, then because he did that thing with the spotlight moving around and the intense music, that creepy music, like, and just people knew what was going on, but you couldn't see him, and then suddenly he'd be there and he'd have somebody ready to do the
Sister Abigail.
Sister Abigail, thank you, and he'd be like shit, like, and it was very Undertaker-esque in a lot of ways, unique in its own way, but very Undertaker-esque, where the lights have gone out, what the fuck's going on? Oh shit, he's here, kind of thing.
Yeah,
perfectly executed, and there's not a lot of wrestlers who get away with that. And this is the mad thing, is it's like it's so hard to do that kind of character in modern day wrestling. So it takes a very special person to pull that off, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Undertaker can still get away with it.
Yeah.
I know he's doing his own thing now as like kind of the American badass again, but he's like he's Taker who can talk again now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like if he flipped right back to Undertaker with the hat and the coat and the whole thing, people would be down for it. The lights went out and he just suddenly appeared, which he has done, by the way. Like it's not like it has to be the full gimmick for it. He has done that. But like he can still get away with it. Do you know what I mean? So I think it takes a certain kind of character, and I agree. I think that is missing from wrestling right now.
Yeah. And like not everything was a home run. Do you know what I mean? Like the red lights and stuff like that. I don't think necessarily were always.
I mean, we
best and stuff, but
criticize isn't the right word because that sounds too much. But we were never, like, we loved the match between him and Seth. Could have done without it being in red the whole match.
Yeah.
For that cage match, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hell in Cell was just it was red light the whole time.
That got universally panned, didn't it, by the majority of people? Like, because the way it finished and all that, and yada yada yada. And he's so fascinating. I think he's the only person in history. Not that the Wrestling Observer Awards mean anything. I think he's the only person to have won like best gimmick, worst gimmick, like best match. Well, you know what I mean? Like he's polarized in the sense he's done both.
Yeah.
And I think that
he was never afraid, because I think if you're gonna try
stuff,
100%.
You know what I mean? Like you can't be afraid to try things, and I think that we absolutely would have got that in this, incarnation of that character. But do you think what would have happened with him and Alexa Bliss? Because where that kind of left off with like the giant fucking Jack in the Box thing and all that, and then because she still obviously now is honoring him, and she's still got a little bit of spooky bliss to her, hasn't she? But
honestly,
like, would she have been Sister Abigail, or would that have been Nikki Cross? Or...
No, I honestly think that would have been the case. I think timing, and Nikki's always played Manic really well, and there's no disrespect to Nikki and being Sister Abigail, but I think obviously when they were trying to do the Wyatt Sicks after Bray's passing, like Alexa was off. With I don't know if it's actually maternity leave, but obviously she was having a baby and having some time away. So I think timing wise, they were like it's not aligning. But Nikki Cross is down for doing this character. I think they probably, in my opinion, the plan would have been she would have been Abby.
Yeah,
like she would have been the embodiment of, and I think that was kind of where they were going, in the sense of like, not that she was possessed, but she was drawn in, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And I feel like that was almost like the idea is like, he's always spoke to Sister Abigail, and then Alexa's sort of embodying Sister Abigail. That made sense to me. And obviously this is all a what if, and we'll never truly know. But I do feel like she would have been in the Wyatt Sicks, and I don't know if we still would have had Nikki in some form, but I feel like she would have been Sister Abigail. I think that's what the idea would have been.
Yeah, no, definitely. So if he obviously did that, then he was leader of the Wyatt Sicks, he was back as the Fiend and stuff. Where do you think where would he have gone to, like, off the back of this? Like, looking at today, for example, like where we are now, obviously SummerSlam and stuff just gone, and you had the whole Cody Rhodes thing and stuff. Like, do you think, I feel like he definitely would have worked with Cody.
Imagine the work they could have done together.
Like the American Nightmare, you've not really seen Nightmares, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
but no, Cody right? I know I've been critical of Cody's character, and to be honest, it always boils down to the fact that I think he should be a heel, and something when it comes to his style and his gimmick, there's something naturally heelish about him, and I think it's because of American media. I don't know why I'm going into this, but I'll come back around to my point. But you know the way he's very typical jock, isn't he, Cody? He's the kid in high school who was the quarterback and he fucking bullied you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think because of like the way we've absorbed American media over the years, he just feels like he should be the bad guy because of the whole aesthetic. He might as well have a Letterman jacket.
I was literally going to say, you should have a Letterman jacket.
And I feel like that, in a way, could have been naturally where the storytelling would have gone, in that sense of like he's being Mr. Nice Guy, and I think Bray could have played on that creatively, and he's trying to bring out like you're not a nice guy. I can see it in you, and he'll bring it out of him, kind of thing. I feel like that would have been perfect as a story of going like I see your demons, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I know who you really are, and just goading him. Trying to break Cody, I think, would have been a great story. Even if ultimately the ended with Cody not breaking because Cody doesn't want to turn heel, Bray sort of seeing through him and trying to break him would have been fantastic storytelling for me.
Yeah, no, that would have been epic, to be fair. He seems like the logical choice, doesn't he? I think. Do you think he would have gone like getting world title runs and stuff? Because you think back to the Undertaker, he never really needed the belt, did he?
I mean, I think Bray worked with the belt really well. I like the custom belt he did and stuff as well. And I feel like inevitably, if the storyline's hot as fuck and they want it to be the main event, you kind of put the respect on it with the belt as well.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like whether he won it or not, I don't know, but like his match, if he'd had a story with Cody, it would have been over the belt as well. He probably would have been perfect for Cody having a rivalry after finishing the story. In all fairness, you know. But I agree. I think he was a character that probably transcended the need for the belt. He'd have been over regardless. So that's the joy of it, I suppose, is that they didn't have to like drop the belt to him. Maybe add a feud with Cody.
Yeah.
But I think it would have been inevitable that he'd have been like multi-time world champion.
Yeah. I mean, he was too good not to be, wasn't he?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I don't think he needed the belt, but I do think that he would have been there or thereabouts around the top card. Do you know what I mean? Like all the stuff that went on with the bloodline and things, he could have had involvement in that. Is there anyone that you would have? Go on.
I'd love to have seen him in Punk as well.
Yeah.
Him and Punk have history with, not massive history, but history with the Nexus and stuff like that.
Damn, yeah. Didn't even think of that, you know.
You know, he could have come at Punk. You know, Punk's. I don't even think they'd have been frightened for Bray to draw on Punk storming out and the whole AEW stuff without being direct about it. I think he would have been fantastic at creatively sort of exposing Punk and, you know, getting under his skin.
Was it Punk or was it Cena or was it someone else? Who was the one who basically like ultimately led to like the whole Husky Harris going away thing? Because like I don't know, they made like fat jokes, or they, you know what I mean? They basically buried him a little bit, and that kind of got him sent back down to.
I don't want to be wrong on this.
Yeah.
I feel like it might have been Punk because he became the leader of the Nexus and shook it up. But it could have also been Cena because Cena obviously buried the Nexus storyline wise. So I don't want to misremember, but I feel like that could have been a Punk thing.
Because I'm just thinking, obviously, the John Cena retirement tour now, like, you know, I feel like Bray would have been a stop on that tour 100%.
I mean, their WrestleMania match was kind of a lovely bookend for him and John anyway.
Yeah.
But you got to imagine that he would have.
Yeah,
he would have revisited.
He would have wanted to wear with him one more time, I think, before he called it. You know, it doesn't have, maybe it wouldn't have been a cinematic match like the last one. Maybe it would have been a proper one.
But it would have been a nice opportunity for him to have a match.
Yeah,
because it was pandemic era, which is what caused the cinematic.
Yeah,
but it would have been a good time for them to have an actual match. In all fairness,
is there anyone else that you would have liked to see him work with?
Probably an odd pairing as it goes in your head, but like just because I'm curious how it would have worked, would be him and Drew.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say Drew
because Drew is a powerhouse and you don't see him scared of much, and I think seeing him scared would have been an interesting dynamic.
Yeah,
so that's in my head too.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that would have been a hell of a feud, because just the two of them would have bounced off each other so well, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just it's just so sad, isn't it, to think of
it is
what we could have obviously had.
I know we kind of put this as a what if, but this is just us like remembering and enjoying, I suppose, isn't it really? But
we just thought, you know, just I've seen some of his old stuff and that recently, and I was just like, you know what, maybe we should just remember some of this and maybe chat, like if he was still here, what what could he have gone on to do? Do you know what I mean? But I think we both agree he would have gone on to be right at the top of the card like he once was. Obviously the Fiend character seemed like it was inevitable to come back, and yeah,
I think it's like it'll always be tragic, always gone too soon. But I think in a way it's nice to appreciate the incredible mark he had on the business in the short time he had.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, you know, I guess over to you guys. What would you if Bray was still here, what do you see him as doing like today? You know, would he still be the Fiend? Would he have had a new creation? You know, let us know. And yeah, if you've made it this far, then make sure you subscribe to us. If you're listening, then yeah, make sure you download the episodes. Just listen to us wherever you're going. You know what I mean? We're there for you.
Throw the headphones on, crack on.
Exactly. Not always.
No.
Well, you know, throw the headphones on and crack on. You never know who's going to walk in the room. But yeah, so yeah, thanks for joining us on this one. As we said, it's always a somber topic in it when you're trying to remember someone. But yeah, we just thought that he deserved remembering. So yeah, let us know what you think, and we will catch you on the next one.
A to the K.
A to the K.